Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Becker, and I am a detransitioner. So, for this year's monologue, I actually wanted to discuss something that some who know me may consider a little off brand for me. But I actually wanted to talk about some of the positive aspects of detransition because obviously, as anyone who knows me, I talk a lot about as I say, the bad funks, the negative, painful, traumatic aspects of transition and detransition and being a public detransitioner and all of these paradigm shifts that we go through. I actually wanted to discuss the other side to that, as it's been a few years now of being, I don't want to say in the business, but being a public detransitioner and being in the business of healing, being in the business of recovery from complex trauma and from gender dysphoria and transition regret. So, about my backstory, I started questioning my gender when I was around 15. I identified as trans when I was 18, and I medically transitioned when I was 19. I took testosterone and had a double mastectomy when I was 20, and I detransitioned when I was 22, and I'm now 26, and so it's been a few years, and I've been public and sort of really involved in these spaces and in the detransition world and movement for about 2 or 3 years now. And in gender time, that's very long. So I have kind of a different perspective. I try to see the good funks and bad funks of, existence, and emphasis on try, but for me, detransition has correlated with my healing journey, my holistic healing journey. There's a lot of focus on healing specifically from the grief and trauma of medicalization, which is a unique and distinct phenomena, but there's a lot of complex issues that predated transition and still have to be dealt with in the aftermath of detransition as we continue to move on. So detransition has directly correlated with my overall healing journey, my spiritual journey, and just growing up. I can mark my life, as I so often do. People interview me, ask me to just step by step, go through it. But I can mark my life through these different identities or these different, gender-based markers. And detransition is a radical shift because my relationship to myself radically changed during the process, and especially in the aftermath of realizing that this had been due to complex trauma. So it correlates with a positive shift towards myself, a radically positive shift. And that is probably the most uplifting and positive aspect of detransition, is that you start to develop a healthier relationship to yourself and to just being itself. Especially for me, a lot of this was existential and spiritual, and I have now a much better relationship to existence, to being, and to my own body and being embodied and what that means and how I sort that out with my health. And so when I detransitioned when I was 22 years old, that was the first time that I really started to have a positive relationship with my body, where I genuinely felt affection towards my body and taking care of it. And I started, doing so many different physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual changes to try and actually love myself. And so for me, and I think many other people, that is the key to what detransition can do for you, really, what it can allow you to finally achieve that maybe you were trying to achieve through transition, is a positive relationship to being and to your body and self, and also to your mind, to your psyche. And so for me, detransition, it's the first time that I actually had a positive relationship to womanhood, right? If I'm, disturbed with being itself, that's going to include every layer sort of beneath that. So especially my womanhood, being an adult human female, and my previous girlhood and childhood development as a girl, as a female creature, I really started to develop a positive relationship for the very first time through that and through accepting myself. I had previously rejected myself because I felt that being was overwhelming. It was confusing, scary, and painful. And as a highly sensitive person, it was just overwhelming. And I didn't have the support in my life, but also to deal with a specifically female existence. So I had suicidal ideation from the age of 14, and psychological conditions like depression, anxiety, and PTSD. I also had premenstrual dysphoric disorder, PCOS, and autism spectrum traits, and a diagnosis. So yeah, there was a lot going on. It was very overwhelming. So when I started realizing through accepting my body, that I couldn't fight being, and that the magical thinking that I had been trying to, escape from being with the transition fantasy of being the opposite sex, and that life would be better. Once I realized that that was an illusion, I was able to wake out of that fantasy and really start to actually be engaged and a participant in my own life. So detransition, right away it started bringing some radically positive shifts. And so for me, that's definitely the most important thing that I've gained from it, and it's continued to just build upon itself today. Radical acceptance allowed me to start focusing on what I could actually control, and I couldn't control being. I couldn't control being alive. I couldn't control being a woman, and these perceived flaws or issues that I had, genuine flaws or issues that I had with it. There were certain things with acceptance that allowed me to actually take autonomy, to feel that I had power and autonomy in my life over my outcome, over my happiness and peace. And I started to take responsibility for my being and my body, and actually take real responsibility and start to make real steps of progress that transition never allowed. They were false steps of progress towards a goal of transcending being. When I detransitioned, I actually was able to start taking real transcendent steps towards sort of appreciating what being was, what existence was. So it allowed me to accept myself with love and to unlearn this self-hating, limiting beliefs that I'd been conditioned to act out from childhood abuse and years of mental illness and nihilistic thinking. And that's just, radical acceptance. So this is my market for, this is my pitch for radical acceptance. But I feel like you can't have a detransition without radical acceptance. Acceptance is the key to that process, and it is a continuous practice every single day as you start to wake up more and more and more. So a huge part of that healing, in addition to the radical acceptance and my relationship to my body, was really developing relationships to other people. And in the gender world, something very positive that's come that I'm sort of eternally grateful for is my relationship to medical professionals who were actually honest, deep, and skilled enough to mentor me in therapy. So through GenSpect, I found I've had 2 different therapists now from GenSpect, and the relationships with those professional therapists was also radically healing. And although they were supporting me through detransition specifically, which was incredibly rewarding because there was such a lack of understanding everywhere else. They also helped me to holistically deal with all of these other complex traumas. So I owe a lot to having a safe relationship with these people and being able to learn about myself from, unprocessed trauma from 15 years before. And without accepting myself, without getting into sort of this niche, at the time, sort of niche detrans, emerging space in 2019, I wouldn't be the person I am today, that's for sure. So it's been invaluable, and I would not be functioning to the extent that I am functioning well and enjoying life as much as I am without the wisdom and guidance of individuals who were well-versed in radical acceptance and well-versed in these gender issues and gender dysphoria and even personal experiences with these things. So that's been an absolutely incredible part of detransitioning, is those relationships through GenSpect and related organizations. And even in addition to the therapeutic relationships, I've also finally found a tribe through sort of finding other people that also were going through these things. I finally felt mirrored by other people because growing up, I was severely lonely and I felt alienated and, being highly sensitive and having autistic traits. It doesn't make, you don't have the best social skills, and it's not easy to find other people who are grooving in the same way as you. And a lot of people ask me if the trans community was a source of comfort for me. And honestly, it was not, because I didn't feel mirrored by those people. Although we had the same label and technically we were on the same side, I didn't feel mirrored by them because there wasn't a genuineness, there wasn't an authenticity. A lot of it was performative and a lot of it was surface level. And I wasn't into that. So actually it was through the Detrans, small network, but growing network now, that I actually started to find my real tribe. The other detransitioners have been incredibly supportive of me and have also given me the opportunity to support other people, which is another enormous part of healing, not just the support and the mirroring that I've received from my peers going through these experiences, but being able to support them and be strong for their sake and advocate for them and keep going for them. So there really was a mutually beneficial, very healthy and supportive network of friends that I've been able to develop. And the social stigma that detransitioners feel, especially being public, and there is a pressure to be public if you're a detransitioner because it's such a hot topic and even sort of a commodity in some ways politically. It's hard, to find authentic community, especially in real life. And after going through such an extreme period of inauthenticity, you really need other people to sort of help, shape you in a way. Not that they're controlling you, but just in a way that you can play off each other's energy and be able to bring out the best in each other and kind of support the more vulnerable parts that need help. And so I'm very grateful to the community of other detransitioners and my peers that I found, because before that, it was very hard for me to feel connected to any sort of peer group. And then even in addition to the detransitioners themselves, just the supporters that I've encountered, there's a really beautiful synchronous, serendipitous network of people who genuinely care about detransitioners. They genuinely care about me. and not in a performative way, not in a pitying way or in an enabling way, but in a way of, gentle accountability, encouragement, but also giving advice and, ultimately still dealing with stuff on our own, but we help each other out and connect and have positive relational experiences. There's numerous parents that have reached out to me in various ways, and I'm so grateful to them because they have given me so much love and support. I have many mother figures and aunts and uncles and all these sort of older mentally people who have been incredibly supportive to me, and that is extremely healing, especially coming from a dysfunctional childhood environment. And as I said before, being able to offer support to them as well, because you go through something like this and you're young and naive and inexperienced in some ways, but you have this incredibly deep existential experience of pain, and you feel a lot of shame for your mistakes and very uncertain of the future, and it's hard to feel good about yourself or that you really have anything to offer. But being able to help other people, and especially these parents, you look to them for their sort of years of guidance and sort of a different perspective, more based in traditional values or history. And then they look to you to understand the contemporary moments, the youthful perspective, and to gain understanding and empathy for their own kids going through gender issues. So that's been incredibly rewarding to me, is receiving guidance and support from parents, especially mothers, and also giving support to mothers and parents who reach out to me for some hope, and being able to sort of get out of my own dark hole and offer them perspective and hope has been really healing to me, because it forces me to see okay, I turned out okay, I'm doing well enough, I'm moving on, it's not all negative, I don't need to have so much shame. So the parents I owe a lot to. That's another really positive aspect of the detransition space. And, I'm just thankful that I've been able to find a community of people who care about listening to my story. For me, that's been absolutely huge, because I've been a writer my entire life, and I've talked to myself for a long time and been a good audience to myself, but I didn't really feel very seen or heard with my peers or growing up. So for me, being able to share my story and have people truly interested to hear, listening actively, asking questions, it's helped me to have more introspection. Not that I need it, but to have more introspection and to be able to sort of better understand what happened. Telling it to other people, it helps you make sense of it, as well as being heard and mirrored by other people, experiencing empathy from other people and compassion, as well as encouragement in the face of, telling your sort of darkest moments. That's been incredibly healing to me. And being a very verbose person, it just feels really good when someone's willing to listen to me and, not get annoyed, as I sort of felt growing up. So that's just an enormous part, people reading my essays and my long tweet threads and watching my videos and podcasts. And there's just been so many opportunities that I've had to sort of share my writing and share my experiences through story and narrative and conversation and dialogue. And I'm just so grateful for that. It's just been amazing to helping me build confidence in those skills and social skills and talking to people. And it's just such a diverse group of people who reach out. Although I say that they're sort of my tribe, it's a diverse tribe. It's a lot of different people, different ages and backgrounds and persuasions. And it's an eclectic bunch, but that's kind of good because I kind of fit right in that regard. And so I'm fortunate to have that audience for my ideas and thoughts. And more recently, I have experienced another just paradigm shift of positivity. Not to be like, but people not only have appreciated my art, okay, I kind of gave it away. They not only appreciate my writing and my ideas and experiences, but they appreciate my passions too. They appreciate my art and my designs and my music. And I mean, that's just incredibly powerful to me as I try to move on from what happened. And obviously there's space for the trauma and the talking and the trauma and, those hobbies. But, at the end of the day, I still am moving on and transcending into my higher self and doing art and running my art store and all of these sorts of creative, generative, new neural pathways, all these things. That's what I really want to focus on. And I'm so thankful that I've received it's an overwhelming amount of support and encouragement and appreciation for my art. And a lot of people in this sort of space are creative as well. And so we inspire each other. And so I'm just endlessly grateful for just all of those things. I mean, when I was sort of writing out this monologue, I just felt so happy at the end of writing it because I was just like, this is so positive. It's not that often that I devote like this amount of characters to just only positive things, So I have a couple more positive things. There's so many good things. I just really wanted to delve into this. So I have an art shop now. It's been a dream of mine for years. And I actually have released a Detans Awareness collection. Obviously, I'm wearing it right now. We've got the funky lizard design. This shirt is probably my most popular item. I also have beanies and hats and flags and stickers and buttons and pins and magnets and all sorts of things that I'm working on. And it's just been so serendipitous to be able to combine my personal experiences, being a detransitioner it is an identity, but not in a way of a victim-based identity. It's in a way of a survivor and overcomer-based identity. It's a sign of resilience. That's what the lizard symbol means. The lizard symbol is a sign of regeneration and, regrowth and life after, the medicalization and identity crisis and psychological distress. So being able to combine my experiences of sort of triumph and a lot of pain into something beautiful and, fun and making art out of it and having other people feel the same way and wearing my shirts and things it's just been so moving and inspiring to, again, just keep moving on and just keep doing more and more work and keep creating, because I destroyed a lot of things and a lot of parts of me were destroyed over the years through abuse and trauma and grief and depression. And now I get the chance to create, and I'm so grateful for that. So just two more things. So there's two examples that are specifically very precious to me that I think highlight the beauty of, just everyone involved, the people involved in, the Detrans world. Obviously there's a lot of other people around, but to focus on the positive, one example is that I was interviewed for the Affirmation Generation documentary, And along with talking about the mastectomy and the surgery and those sort of traumatic experiences, they also requested to license my song and music video, my visuals for the music. And that to me is just, I'm still astounded, you know. I'm so ecstatic and just grateful for that opportunity, because it's a lasting achievement. And there was just so much destruction, there was so much loss, and I was talking about losing parts of my body and years of my life to pain and suffering in the documentary. And then yet here I am being able to perfectly synchronize my personal weird music and songs and vocals and my monologues and all that into the same documentary. And so it really shows the good funks and the bad funks and what you can sort of be able to create out of the loss. And so that's a specific example of a way that detransition has just been so beneficial to me in moving on. And then the second one is there's just so many positive things that I just had to talk about it. But the second thing is that I was commissioned to design stickers for an awareness campaign to appeal to gender distressed youth, with a QR code on the stickers that links to my essay, The Archetypal FTM, Quirky, Sensitive, Artistic, Weird Girls, How Personality is Confused with Gender Identity. And I mean, it's just, I really don't have the language to describe. I'm not used to talking about positive things as much. I think I need to get more vocab words to describe my positive experiences. But it's kind of surreal, just that someone would not only commission me to design a sticker, but design it based on my essay. Like, just so much funk god energy in there. Funk God is my artist and musician name. So there's been so many other forms of abundance. That's the term I was looking for. That's the vocab. Abundance. Getting involved in the Detrans community is brought me so much opportunity, or as the anonymous trolls like to say, becoming a bigot for attention and being a grifter. But I've gotten to meet so many talented and interesting people. I've done media interviews and hosted podcasts and been on podcasts and traveled to new places and done speaking events, and just the list goes on in the ways that I've been able to gain experiences with really amazing people, make good friends, and be able to make art and create positive change, and especially create positive energy. Because sharing stories and doing all these things, yes, it's related to art or my art business, but really what it's generating is a momentous flow of positive energy for myself and for other people. And that is the most healing thing. So despite the fact that I lost years of my life to depression and I wasn't able to find connection or, really understand myself or trust myself or sort of reach my potential, and that I've lost parts of my female body, and I still carry shame and pain, and I'm still healing from complex PTSD and regret that I was willfully blind and ignorant and abandoned in many ways. I'm still really happy about where I am now, and who I am now. And without detransitioning and becoming integrated into society, sort of in this alternative, funky tribe, I wouldn't have as much hope for healing and love and truth prevailing over evil. So I just wanted to say I'm very grateful, and I hope to keep spreading the gospel of funk as much as I can, as well as spreading awareness and acceptance. So thank you.